another Whoosh Weekly Roundup with me, Louie, where we'll go over what books I picked up from my local comic shop this week. First, if you're enjoying any of my content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on the videos. It really helps kind of spread the videos around YouTube, so I would greatly appreciate that. But, as we're always here for, let's jump into the books. So, first up, Star Wars number 43. An ongoing series still set between episodes 5 and 6 because they're still running it. I really don't know how much time they really have left, honestly. How much you can really cram into those short windows of those movies. There wasn't a lot, so I guess we'll find out. But yeah, no, definitely check out these runs. They're really good, really great to continue to read them, and I've been thoroughly enjoying them. So next up we have the Tales of Exandria, Artagan number 2. And if you enjoy Critical Role at all, definitely make sure you check out these kind of little tie-in issues that they release. They're really great. They tie in really well with the show and the characters you've grown to love on the show, as well as maybe even the animated series Legends of Vox Machina. So, I mean, Artagan is definitely somewhat tied into that one. Very much more tied into Campaign 2, which is The Mighty Nine, which is also getting an animated series. So if you haven't checked them out and you're waiting for that, awesome. It'll probably won't disappoint you either. That campaign turned out to be really good as well. But these are really great little like tie-ins, and the actual main Critical Role story they're running in the comics is great too. Added some backstory to Vox Machina, who is Campaign 1's heroes, and they're great. Absolutely love Grog and Scanlan. They're fantastic. So definitely make sure you check those out if that is what you are after. Next up, we have Marvel Gods number 5. Honestly, this is going to be another one of those ones I read all at once. This one's written by Jonathan Hickman, so I'm actually really excited to kind of dive into it. And if it seems like I'm going kind of fast through the books, there is something to do with my pick of the week where I want to kind of dive into it a bit. So I don't want to take up too much time with some of the earlier books, but definitely really excited for that. Next up we have issue 4 of a 4-issue limited series, Marvel Secret Wars Battle World, where we kind of dive into more of what happened on Battle World during the original Secret Wars run from the 1980s, where Spider-Man gets his black suit. Funny thing, like, everybody can go in and create like new suits. He goes in and he actually accidentally picks the wrong machine and it gives him a symbiote. Turns out to be Venom, so on and so forth, and he gets the black suit. So this kind of fits in a very small window within that run too. So yeah, I mean, definitely check those out. They're fun. It's a fun little like add-in. We've also got Spider-Boy number 4 coming up, which this is going to be part of what I'm talking about when I share my pick of the week. I don't know if we need Spider-Boy in the universe. Not mad that he's there. Just hard. So still reading it, still giving it a shot, but I guess we'll see. On that same note, we have, and this didn't actually end up as my runner-up of the week, but it was close. We have Rise of the Powers of the X number 2, which kind of continues the rise of Krakoa, goes more into what happened prior to Orcus taking over and trying to like ruin everything for the mutants. So another really cool tie into the fall of the House of X. Very excited to keep reading these and learning more about the backstory. So it's really cool to tie in Rise of the Powers of X with Fall of the House of X, the main storyline, and kind of see where everything shakes out. So not my runner-up, but really close. My runner-up of the week is actually Ultimate Spider-Man number 2. It's a really cool take on the Ultimate Universe. The maker kind of did his thing in there. Took away a lot of heroes, but somehow things happen, and we end up with getting an Ultimate Spider-Man. They've released Ultimate Black Panther already as well, and we're getting Ultimate X-Men, I believe, in April. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's April. So stoked, really glad they're doing this run again, and I really like the approach they're taking. I think it's a really cool, very clever approach. Um, Now, lastly, my pick of the week is Edge of the Spider-Verse #1, and I have 2 copies of it because, as you can see, one is cover A over here, and really really cool, featuring Spider-Bite, who you may or may not remember from Across the Spider-Verse, and we have the Scotty Young variant, which is awesome. Spider-Punk is on this one, which is really really cool, and again, if it's a Scotty Young cover, absolutely have to pick it up. And the story itself wasn't bad. Oddly enough, my probably least favorite story was the one featuring the cover person. So let's go back to cover A. We have Weapon 8, and it is a Peter Parker who went through the Weapon X program. Weirdly enough, he's got multiple eyes, so even though he's got like that shield, it kind of gets a Cyclops vibe off of it, which is what made me really pick up the issue. Gave me the 90s X-Men Cyborg vibe. Not Cyborg, Cyclops vibe. But I don't know. It was good. Least favorite story. I really liked the Spider-Bite story, and I actually didn't mind the Miguel O'Hara story, which really set up where they're headed with this. And I think it might be Sinister War, I think it is, that they're headed towards with like the Sinister Six. Not Mr. Sinister. I know. Anyway. Too many close things. But, yeah, I mean, and I get he's the new character and you introduced him for that reason. So even though he's the new character and they introduce him, I think he's got the least strong story in there. He doesn't know his name. He's hired to go hunt down Wolverine, and like he realizes it, like Wolverine tries to talk him into letting him go, and he realizes he doesn't know his own name, and he wants to know his own name, so then he goes a little rogue, and like, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know. I didn't love that story. I really liked the Spider-Bite one. That was a fun story to get into, and the Miguel O'Hara one was cool too. And for those 2 alone, it won pick of the week for me. I didn't mind the Weapon 8 story. I just don't think it was the strongest one in there, and with him being the featured character, I was hoping it would be better. But that brings me to just a quick thing I wanted to get into here at the end, and that is the reliance on Spider-Man in all media is overwhelmingly bad for the character, I think. And I'm not saying like just when the character's in the stories, but like they're using Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, those Spider-Verse movies to introduce more Edge of the Spider-Verse comic books, more characters within them. One, partially to get people to buy them due to speculation for if they'll appear in those movies. 2, because hey, it's Spider-Man, they'll sell. Everybody loves Spider-Man. How do we capitalize on that? Well, we introduce Spider-Boy. We have Ghost Spider / Spider-Gwen. We have Silk. We have Spider-Woman. We have Miles Morales. We have so many Spider people that like it's almost not special to be a Spider person anymore, like a Spider totem. And honestly, the amount of times they do an Edge of the Spider-Verse series starts to dilute those 2, and it feels less special. It feels less like a must-have book. And it feels more like a cash grab. Like, I get it. Spider-Gwen caught on kind of organically through those books. Spider-Man Noir was pretty cool. A lot of people loved him from the first movie. The Spider-Verse movies did a lot to boost other versions of the Spider-Man character, but at this point we're getting to an oversaturation both in the comic book market and when it comes to actual Spider-Man related movies, whether that's Venom 1, Venom 2, we're going to get Venom 3, we've gotten Morbius, we got Madam Web out there, we're getting a Craven movie, and all 6 of those movies, well, 5 of those 6, I can't confirm from Venom 3 doesn't have Spider-Man in it yet, but 5 of those 6 are Spider-Man characters with no Spider-Man. But why do we keep producing them? Because Spider-Man will sell tickets. Even if it's remotely associated to Spider-Man, it will sell tickets, it will sell comic books, and I wish they would stop doing that. I wish wholeheartedly they would stop just doing so much with their characters and find a way to grow other characters. Yes, there's going to be a down period in comic book sales if you try to establish those characters, and that's fine. We get it, your bottom line is business. But At which point do you realize that your business is going to plummet if you overproduce on this character and don't produce more new content? You don't produce new characters people are interested in. You don't find a way to pull back the reins on some of the projects you're doing, or ways to incorporate an actual character into those books or those movies, and get it to be a way to facilitate new characters in a way that people want to see. Like, Madam Web so heavily focuses on Spider-Man related characters and themes and stuff that you can't necessarily do it without him, but they did it. And I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen overwhelmingly negative reviews for the movie. Morbius kind of felt the same way, minus the fact they made his powers look like Nightcrawler, but that's not the point. Venom kind of feels the same, where you're seeing Venom, but he doesn't have the spider on his chest because he was never on Spider-Man. He started off with Eddie Brock, and you're like, well, what are we doing here? So I don't know. I guess my rant is, this is like Edge of the Spider-Verse, I don't know, number 6, like volume 600 at this point, based on the number of Spider-Verses they've come out with. Don't fall for that hype, is my point, I guess. If you see a Spider-Verse come out and you're interested in it, buy it because you're interested in the character. Don't buy it for the spec, because at this point Marvel is driving that spec straight into the ground, and you can't come back out. It's the same thing with Ultimate Spider-Man. Like, I showed Ultimate Spider-Man number 2 today, but Ultimate Spider-Man number 1, when it first came out, they were selling cover A's of that on eBay for $30 a pop. Like, stores sold out of it due to just the pure speculation related to the book. And while Spider-Man is great and it's cool they're doing a new take on him, do not invest in the book as a way to necessarily turn a profit. Because if you spend $30 on that book, chances are, and again, this isn't financial advice, this is just experience from me and just a plea, chances are if you spend $30 on that book, you're not going to recoup your $30. You would get back maybe 10, because it's a $6 book all on its own. So you might get $10 back on it. You're still losing 20. So I guess that's my point. Just be careful. Don't fall for the spec, and be careful with the Spider-Man stuff, because both in the comics and in the movies they're overdoing it. So that is it for me. I will step off of whatever soapbox I was on this episode. Apologies if that's not what you come here for. But we'll catch you there next time. Thanks.